Welcome back to Living on Land and Prayer. Today we're going to be making kombucha.
Let's get started. All right, before we get started, I want to make sure that our hands are nice and clean so we don't bring any outside germs and bacteria to the SCOBY, which is a living thing. So I usually just wash my hands with a little bit of vinegar after using some soap and water to make sure that they are sterile. Want them as clean as possible. Okay. And then using a clean towel, you can just pat them dry. All right, this is our Scooby Hotel that stays in the refrigerator. They keep the Scobies alive when we're not using them. And as you can see, I have plenty of them. It's really hard to throw them away because they're so beneficial and I mean, they're worth so much to your health. So this is what a SCOBY looks like. It stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. I know it's kind of gross, but there is so much good bacteria on these that just ferment and get into the water, and that's why kombucha is so healthy. It is a probiotic. So I started drinking it because I had some gut issues, and I wanted to find a natural way instead of taking some of these over-the-counter, just probiotic capsules that you don't really know the strength of it because it's been sitting on the shelf for so long. So this is really pure live cultures that are going straight to your gut to help give you that synergistic balance that you need in your gut to make sure that your body works as well as designed. Before we show you how to make the kombucha, I want to show you what the finished product looks like so you know what to expect. These are each a gallon, just a mason jar that has fermented tea in it. The sweetened tea was in here, and each of them have a SCOBY at the top. They've been fermenting probably for about, oh my goodness, probably 9 days now, and anywhere between maybe 7 to 10. And again, when I give you guys numbers, there's really no wrong way of doing this. You're gonna know by the taste and what it looks like sometimes of how long it needs to ferment. In the warmer months, in the summertime, it ferments a lot faster. In the winter, it might take double the time. So again, just kind of, once you get the hang of it, you'll know exactly what to look for, and also when you taste it to see if it's done fermenting or not. So at the top is your SCOBY, and the neat thing about this is after it is fermented, the mother SCOBY, the one that you put at the top, has made a baby SCOBY. When you see these stringy things, this is actually a good thing. This is just the bacteria growing, and this is just the remaining product. So it is fine, it's not going to hurt you. It will be filtered out later on if you want to run it through like a cheesecloth or strain it out somehow. So what I'm gonna do is take off the baby SCOBY. Try not to tear the mother SCOBY or the baby. Oh God, that one just squirted, that's disgusting. And I know this is gross. For some of you guys looking at this, you're like, what in the world is this thing? But I'm just weird like this. These things don't bother me. I mean, I guess maybe because I've birthed 3 kids, I don't know. But, and I think if it is something for your health and it's doing so much good in your body that it's worth it. So we have the mother SCOBY who's a little bit larger, and the baby SCOBY. It doesn't really matter which one you use for the next batch, but I'm gonna put them inside the hotel, and if someone wants one, I'll have plenty of them here. As you can see, I already have probably a good, I don't know, how many do I have in here? I mean, what do you think, like 6 of them in here? And once it gets too much, like I'll probably take some of these and put them into the compost. I've seen people possibly even eat them, but it's not really what I like to do, so that's fine. So anyways, here's our second batch here, and you see the mother SCOBY's on the top and the baby SCOBY, and again, just gently pulling them apart with clean hands. Make sure that, you've washed them and they're very sterile, so no bacteria gets on here. The SCOBY should always I'll show you what the cover at the top looks like here. You'll know if it goes bad because you will see maybe some moldy green, some black colors up here. I've only had that happen once, and I think it's because some of the fruit flies that were in our house in the summertime got underneath the cloth that goes on top of it. And I don't know, just somehow interfered with the symbiotic cultures there. All right, so now we have our hotel, and what I'll do every time that I make a new batch is empty this out and put new kombucha in it, just so they stay fresh and healthy. And again, if anyone wants any, let me know because I have plenty. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and make the kombucha. Just a few things that you're going to need is a pot of water. With your ratio, I have 14 cups with the ratio, but basically this is 28 cups. So for every 14 cups you have, you'll need 1 cup of sugar that you'll dissolve in there. And then you're going to need 8 tea bags for each 14 cups as well. So I've doubled it, so I have 28 cups, 2 cups of sugar, and I usually use organic sugar, try to keep it as clean as possible. And then I'm going to need 16 tea bags that will go in here to make our sweet tea.
Now we're gonna pour the sugar in.
All right, our water is finally boiling, so we're gonna go ahead and put the sugar and the tea in to make the iced tea. And people are always like, why are you gonna put so much sugar in if you're trying to make a healthy drink? Well, the SCOBY eats the sugar. That's how it ferments. So don't feel like you're trying to put, sugar in there and it's not, if you're trying to avoid sugar, the bacteria will eat it. So you're feeding the good stuff. That's a wooden spoon. And so we're going to start with some sugar, pour it in there. You should probably try to turn this off so it doesn't burn it. And then just slowly dissolve that sugar. And then put your tea bags in. And then you're just gonna leave it there for a few minutes. And we'll take the tea bags out probably after like 10 minutes, and you're gonna let it sit here and cool before you move to the next process. Once the iced tea is cool in the pot, you're going to pour half of it into each gallon mason jar. All right, so now we're gonna finish up the first fermentation. So these are our 2 gallons that we have here, and you can see the tea is much darker when you first put it in before it ferments, and this is right after the first fermentation. So you can see the color changes a little bit. It'll get lighter as it ferments. So what we need to do here is we have our sweet tea in here. You need to add some starter tea. So this is some that we fermented before, and this is our starter tea for the kombucha. You're gonna do like maybe a cup in each. And that just kind of gives it some of the bacteria in there. And then on top of that, you want to make sure that your tea is completely cool. It's not hot. You want to make sure that the SCOBYs can survive in there. So you're just going to place the SCOBY on the top. Most of the time, the SCOBY is going to just kind of hang out at the very top. It depends on the temperature, honestly. If it's warm, it might sink to the bottom, but as it, warms up, or cools off, it might go to the top. I'm gonna skip the baby and come down here to another one that I had from the previous time. I'm just gonna pull off if there's any little strings hanging down, that's fine. Again, it's not gonna hurt anything, but you wanna kinda keep it clean when it first goes in there. And then I'm gonna place this on top. If the SCOBY sinks to the bottom, it's fine. Sometimes there's rips in the top of it and it's okay, it'll grow back together. That SCOBY is eventually going to expand and get larger as it forms a seal at the very top. So it'll move back up to the top. And again, I didn't let it cool probably as much as I should, but it'll come to the very top here and float and form a seal. So there'll be no tea on top of it. And that helps keep it create the carbonation. What you need to do for the next 7 to 14 days is put it in a darker place. Some people put it in a cabinet or like a closet, a pantry. I don't really have any space anywhere, so I just put it in the laundry room. And you can just use 1 cloth for each or 2 together. So your SCOBYs will come to the top. You put your starter kombucha in it. You're going to place a cloth over it. Some people use napkins or cheesecloths, just something to keep any bugs out. In Florida, the main bug you have to worry about is a fruit fly, so that's why I try to keep it away from our produce. So you're going to place the rubber bands around. That way the SCOBY still can breathe, get the oxygen that it needs, but it keeps out any bugs. You really don't have to do anything with it. You just leave it there. You can come check it every few days if you'd like to make sure that there's no mold growing at the top of it. After 7 days, you might want to take a little straw and just open up the corner, slip the straw down and put your thumb on top of it to keep the kombucha in there. You don't want to put your mouth on it at any time. Take it out and taste it to see if you like it. You're going to have a little bit of a sour, vinegary taste, and then you can add sweetener to it a little bit later on if you like, but in the beginning, I probably prefer it to be more sweet, but as you get used to the taste of kombucha, and my kids actually prefer it to be a little more vinegary now. They're definitely acquiring the taste for it.
We're gonna start our second fermentation for the syrup. So we like our kombucha a little bit more bubblier. So we're gonna pour almost a cup of sugar in. And
I'm going to quickly rinse out all of the bottles with a little bit of vinegar to sterilize them. And then once the sugar syrup has cooled off, we're going to pour a little bit of it in the bottom of each of the bottles. Now you're going to pour in the fermented kombucha and leave about 1.5 inches at the top of each bottle. All right, now we have about 6 bottles that we're able to fill up from each gallon, and a little bit left, so I'm sure the kids will have a little glass of some ice cold kombucha here in a little bit. So what we're gonna do is just put the lids on them, snap them down, and to spray out a little bit when you open them up after the fermentation. I bought these clear bottles on Amazon, and they were just delivered to the house. And then the green is just the German beer that we bought at the ABC liquor store and drank, and then we've used those a few times too. So if you want to drink the beer and just use the bottles, they work just as fine as the ones you'd buy on Amazon. Then you're going to store these in a dry, cooler place, somewhere around, 75 degrees, doesn't really matter. And then you're going to add a little bit of carbonation there for the next few days, and that's the way we like it. A little bit more sweet than the first fermentation and a little more carbonated. So it tastes like a refreshing drink after a long day.
Thank you guys so much for watching. For our next video, we'll be unboxing pool toys. So go watch our next video.